Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? Back in Minecraft. I got another stream going and this is again, it's going to be I'm just going to stream on my progress with the infinite storage machine, based on Sethbling's design, and then I guess he based it on someone else's original concept as well. And I'm just going to continue and kind of talk about what I've done so far, what I've learned so far, and obviously just do some commentary on all that. Um, Tonight I'm gonna have another just normal Minecraft episode survival server going up, but that's about it. Anyway, so we're gonna go over there, see how things are gonna go. Peek. Well, there we go. Let's check it. So basically, if you guys saw the other one, what happened is that I think one of the last things, well, other than reminiscing about the potion machine, is I was talking about this guy. And it was a disaster all entirely. Everything sucks. Da 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 da. I want to die. The usual. But I finished this machine, and it does work. But it's once again, it still sucks. I just hate the thing. So interestingly enough, and I don't even think I looked at this. Also, just before everything, I want to get one stream down to kind of explain all of this, and why things are wrong, and some of the overall things that I'm going through my head, because I'm going to start actually making a very different way of, I'm going to start making a very different machine to the extent of what this is, and and I want to explain why I'm doing that, and the things that I've learned with this thing as we went through that. But anyway, I totally forgot where I was at. Basically, yeah, this thing, it does work though. So if we threw in some sand, it should. Let's see. Is this all working correctly? It should pump out some sand for us. Relatively simple, right? Unless, of course, I messed it up recently, which it looks like I did mess it up recently. It did work. I guess I'll just have to say that. I don't really want to fix it right now because I'm streaming, so that would suck. But it's not nearly what not nearly what I wanted it to do, or what I wanted it to be, right? I gotta get rid of these chests, they spill everywhere. And I say that because what I noticed, or here, look, I'll explain it, which I guess is what I should be doing. So you have your hopper sorter, right, which is the only way to actually get multiple carts of the same from the same search tag or same item search or whatever you put into your machine to search for, and then return those chests to your display. If you want to do multiple chests of the same thing, you have to use a hopper sorter, right? Because other than that, you just do the normal dispenser, and a hopper, and it just dispenses a hopper, and it just puts the tag into the chest, and then it detects that, the original Sethbling type thing, right? But I realized a little bit too late one of the main limitations of doing this. And that's the fact that, oh geez, it hurts. We're going to go to somebody else's world. Thank you to this guy once again. I don't have to reiterate because I did it so many times in the last stream. But we're going over to this dude's world who had, we know who this guy is if you watch the last stream. He basically he has his own unique take on the machine, but he also does multiple chests of the same thing using the hopper sorter, naturally. And I was like, this machine has some problems and things, and I want to fix those, and I want my machine to be better, naturally. And and I'm realizing some of the things are some of the reasons why his machine works the way it does, because of the problems that I'm facing. Now, here's the main thing that is basically completely destroyed the way that I actually planned to do the build that I did. And it's literally, where are we? It's this torch right here. So as we all know, because we're all redstoners, we're all stoners here. The torch can burn out, right? If you get a lever and you flip the thing on enough, the torch just burns out. And that's exactly what it does in that. So the way that the other guy who gave the world download that we were just in, the way he solved it is he literally just He literally just put delay on his entire machine. So, and I am not going to do that. That is just awful. I don't want my machine to be slow, but that's how he solved it, right? Just slow down the machine, and so then the torch doesn't burn out. And that's one way to do it, right? You can either slow it down, put in more latency into your machine, and the torch won't burn out, right? But it's just one of the most depressing things ever. And then another way he did it, so I don't know why he did this two ways, unless he didn't even experience the problem because of, remember, he did 4 carts. I'm doing 18 carts, okay? It's a little bit more. And to that extent, I am experiencing this problem very firsthand, as too many signals going through this too fast are burning out the torches, and obviously the machine totally gets jacked up because the torches burn out, right? So I don't even know if this guy came across the problem of torch burnout, because he only had 4 carts and his machine was going just very slowly. Which, may I mind you, it's way easier to work with a machine that's going slowly. Like, everything is just a lot, there's fewer timing issues with something that gives you just, in all simplicity, more time to work, right? A lot more things can happen within the time frame. It's just easier to deal with and easier to troubleshoot when something works nice and slow, that you can comprehend everything that's going on. But once again, I don't want to do that. I don't want latency in my machine. I don't want to slow it down on purpose. In fact, I want to make it as fast as possible. If I'm searching something and I want to find it, I want to find it now. So, I kind of more or less refuse to slow down my machine. For the sake of this machine actually functioning, this first draft, which is terrible, but if I really did, in fact, just want this thing to work, for the sake of that, I may slow it down, because, it's not like anybody was going to use this anyway. So yeah, I could just, I guess, try out slowing it down. I kind of want to do that later, though, but whatever. The way I did it, just briefly, is by lowering the count of the chests that are allowed to actually show up. I think it's at like 4 at the moment, instead of, as many, up to 18 as you can, but but yeah, it's 3 o'clock and I'm yawning. So I guess I'll just put some of these back in. So I guess I could slow it down and see if I could basically prevent torch burnout. What are we at here? Boop, boop, boop. I'll try that. I'll try that next time. Because if I want to test that now, I have to throw in a bunch of chests. Come on, guys. I don't want to do that. But then again, you guys haven't seen this work. That's half of the point. Oh, okay. Well, yes. Okay. We're going to see this thing work. I forgot that you guys haven't seen this thing. It's not like I'm just explaining it. It's the fact that this thing did exist in the last stream. It's just it wasn't complete. There was nothing done yet. And now it's done, right? But I've just, the realization of how many problems there are is a little bit rough. I don't even know what's going on down here. I've been messing with it a lot, so yeah, a lot of things are going to be messed with. Alright. Speaking of, did that first thing even have anything in it? Give me that. Oh, it did. Wait, did it? It did. Alright, well, screw that. I'm going back. Put the sand in the chests and let's demonstrate this machine to you guys, because I realize, once again, you guys have not even seen this thing. So we need to, so once again, the main problem is that, and it's not like the biggest thing in the world, but it is the fact that the thing burns out, the torch burns out. I would have to add latency to this machine, making searching slower in order for it to get the chests out, right? More than like 4 chests or something. The torch actually does burn out rather fast. It's something around, actually, let me see. I put it right here. It's near 8 ticks before the thing burns out. I guess we could technically count that, can we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, I don't it's gonna be something like 6 or 8 before the thing burns out. But yeah, that's just not very, it's not very many chests considering to what I was trying to do. So, inevitably I have to add latency, which I just did, and I guess we'll test that out. But yeah, as this side says, my ambition may have been a little bit, yeah, I love that. Ambition too great for the constraints of reality. Yep, it's a rough realization, but it's if you're fine with latency, I guess it's okay. But also, you have to understand, I have absolutely no tolerance for latency in a machine like this. Like practical survival, I'm gonna have like I don't know 100 carts. In any case, I'm gonna have like 100 carts at the least. I can't have this thing taking 4 ticks or more, especially in order to search through 100 freaking carts. It's 100 carts. It's insane. Having it go at 4 ticks or slower, you'll be sitting here for hours. Not really, but minutes. And I don't want to do that. Would be so stupid. So you need to have it as fast as you can, which you can get each cart I think goes at 2 ticks, that's pretty reasonable. Obviously, that's far faster than 4 ticks, right? Even though I actually, did I just, yeah, I just slowed it down 4 more ticks. I don't think I actually doubled it by doing that. I have no idea how many sand cards I'm putting in here, guys. I'm just da 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 da. So inevitably, as I said, so how's the machine doing right now? The machine is it's doing okay. It actually works fine. Obviously, this works. Next cards are fine. Just gets rid of all the cards that you see. Create tags, item filter. It's all doing fine. The machine, it works as it should be. The only thing has been the fact that some of the cards are getting jacked up because the torches are burning out. Also, a little bit of a difficulty is making the cart counter in the back adequately count the carts. I haven't even tested it out very much, but I want to say this, guys. I'm not working on this anymore. I've legit moved on to another version. As you can see right here, of the machine entirely. So I think going through it in my head a little bit right now has made me realize maybe there could be some more reasonable improvements to this thing, but also, I don't know. I just don't think the practicality is where I originally thought it was at. And I say that because the reason why I had 18 slots here, right, is because I want to say, look, if I want a bunch of cobblestone, because I'm going to go build a freaking castle for, whatever reason, whoever does that, I want to be able to say, give me all my cobble, and it just gives you all your cobble on display here so you can use it. But I also think I understand the fact of the matter that very few people are going to need a system in which it displays all of the tag, right? Like, let's say I do go build a castle, right? Like, I need materials to go build a castle. I'm gonna be grabbing like an inventory load of stuff. Like, I don't need 7 chests filled with cobblestone. I really only need 1 at the immediate moment, right? So it's just unnecessary. And inevitably, if you can cut things back, you definitely should, because that'll help as far as all of the internal machinery, cutting things down. One thing you could obviously argue is the fact, hey, I've got 17 sugar boxes. I don't know, I'm just making up numbers. I want to fill them all with cobblestone, right? In that case, yes, it would be quite helpful to have all of your cobblestone displayed. But once again, I mean, these are situations that they seem to be few and far between, and because of that, I feel like it would be better to address the majority than the minority of the situations at hand that are going to be occurring with these kind of storage machines. So anyway, all right, let's try it out. So we added a bunch of latency, 4 ticks of latency. So let's see what happens. I don't even know what happens, guys. So this is an experience for us all. There we go. Oh my gosh, it's so slow. How's this doing? It didn't even reach its max. That's interesting. Alright. Sand, 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 sand. Oop. Sand, sand. So yeah, I think the latency basically completely and utterly solves the problem. Which is nice, right? That means this machine does work basically perfectly the way I wanted it to. That's nice. Functionality is there. I'm actually, quite relieved, because it's been causing me a lot of problems with the torch burnout. So adding that latency was a good idea. But also, I have mega depresso because latency Alright, so let's send these back. So this is how the send back works. We're basically just putting a current into a hopper clock. Oop. That was a mistake. But yeah, and it just loops. Sends them all back. All the carts can't go just dropping in at once, which also pisses me off because that was how I originally wanted to do it. But if you do that, they'll basically just glitch out super hard and like start going in all different directions. It's cancer. I want to try something. I want to shorten our latency. Let's just do 1 tick of latency. 1 tick. 1 tick. Can the torch take it? Will it burn out immediately? You got this, torch man. I think the torch is fine. I also think the thing's broke his balls because nothing came back. Yeah, no kidding, it's broke. What just happened? See, but that's also something I'm figuring out. It's being somewhat unreliable. I can't understand why these things... Well, I mean, it obviously sent the cobble too. Also, yes, this... Once again, animating the carts is more or less impossible. So, this is like the best you could do. This is the best I could do. I have so many different versions of what I was trying to do, but it's just like not possible once again, so... Yeah. This got janked up pretty hard, but it doesn't matter, right? At least it's nice that I can just get rid of the whole thing, so... Interestingly enough, though, you know, I don't understand why the cobblestone got sent. Because I could go watch it and then just realize, but either way. We're checking this together, guys. This is an experience we can have together. Alright, let's try it out. Oh, I know why. What? That's a good question, though. Why is the sand not being given back? There's no current going there, so it's not going to get blocked. Oh my gosh, there's another traitor! A traitor to our country, our people. Interestingly enough, those are not stacking properly, obviously. This man, he cannot survive this. I guess I gotta talk a little bit more, because... Sorry, it's super hot in my room, which makes everything more or less just sweat fest and me breathing super heavily in order to just sustain myself. I need water. Anyway. Okay, so what did I do here? I finished the machine. What happened since the last time? Well, basically I added a pause, which I'm using when too many carts are sent, and I am using it when you press next carts to get rid of them. So if you're basically sending the carts back during a search, it pauses the things, and you can do exactly that because the carts go on the exact same rail that all the other carts go on. So you're going to need to actually give it a sec and pause it. So then basically the carts don't get blocked and they all get sent back to the same place. Because if you're sending these carts from the drop to mine carts to the carts which are being searched right now going up this rail, they'll just hit each other and it'll turn into an absolute and utter disaster. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Green guy just basically is just resetting the when you press next carts, it's just resetting the little cart counter there. And this guy, pinky, little pinky tinky winky, just bringing back the tags to the chests. Simple as that. Obviously the item sorting, it's just a line of hoppers going to the chests there, which that's about it. Which is lacking a function that I will talk about soon. A very important function, mind you, but anyway, we will not worry about that at the moment. And that's more or less what I did, got everything together, and yeah. Let's try out our search again with 3 ticks latency. There. Alright. Alright, buddy boy. Buddy boy. Man, it's hot. Alright, so let's check this. It's... what? That's... what? How? See, it's stacked nicely now. How in all of... why are they not grabbing it? Well, come here. They should basically just come past this. I mean, we already tried it with the hopper. You guys saw it too. They should just go past and grab the thing. Why are they not doing it literally exactly that? That is rather interesting. What if we just cobbled? Cobble. Gotta love it. None of these guys will come past. It's all sand. There it is. Cobble, cobble. Good job. How much cobble? 2. You know what? Might I recall us having a little bit more than 2 cobble? Let's try this again, shall we? Cobble... thunk. Should actually just see it right here. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, 4. We did have more than just 2 cobble. That's interesting. That's 3 latency. Man, this is tripping me out. As you guys can tell, this thing is a troubleshoot nightmare at the moment. Man, that is just disgusting. It's so disgusting. You can tell how horrified I am with this whole. Anyway, yeah, that's this thing. This is this machine. First iteration, obviously, but also it's just, This was a function I'm going to talk about soon. All right, well, I'll come back to looking at this piece of garbage at some point in time. I think the real thing to talk about with you guys is the fact that this is my second iteration of the UI, right? So we still have as much storage as I can give you in the UI, which is 4 double chests of tags, items, whatever. What you're gonna use the sort. I found a place to put the freaking anvil that's actually more reasonable. And I put the anvil basically right here. All you have to do is have a hop beneath it, and when you throw an item, boop, it gets sucked up anyway. So you can just have an anvil right there. These 2 bottom blocks still take your items regardless. So it's all good in the hood with that. So the anvil right down here, which is nice, right next to all your tools, crafting table and such. We still have the little mechanism for adding carts. We have the next carts. And then we have these 2 things, which are auto sorts and then rejected auto sorts. Rejected auto sorts are simply above it because that's where it needs to be in the UI. So then this thing here can have a auto sort, can have a place to actually eject items via hopper, right? Even though I guess that's mostly about it. Not that. Though I guess I could swap these, couldn't I? If I wanted to. If I wanted to put the chest back on. Yes, I could swap those. I have to do that though. That's not bad actually. Alright, well I will I'll check that out. I'll make a note of that actually right here. Swap these. We'll try that out. Basically, I'm going to explain the important function that we did not have on this one, which I wanted to get, but evidently it did not happen. You have a auto sort, right? I already talked about this. Auto sort, super important. Throw all your stuff in, have it get sorted. Holy crap, it's super hot in my room, but we're all just going to ignore that. But when you auto sort, the thing is with this, and I guess the other ones as well, everybody's assuming that you're not going to be a human being and you already know what's in your storage. This storage is infinite. You almost do not have access to what is inside of your storage. Really, I haven't seen any other way to do this either. I just like my idea because I never seen another way to do it, and it's also very, very, very helpful idea. So what happens in most auto sorts is just a straight line of hoppers to the carts, right? But let's say I'm a human being and I'm like, oh no, I throw a bunch of, oh no, my garbage, oh, what happened? Oh my gosh, well, who knows? Freaking redstone. But, I just throw it in. Right? And then stuff. Why is there redstone on top of that? There's no reason for that. And then it's like, oh no, it's in my hopper, and it can't actually get sorted in because it's not actually in the storage. Oh no, because I don't know what's in the freaking storage. I have no idea how much stuff I've stored and exactly what I've stored in the storage. It's an infinite storage, But I have to have full chests, so I have no idea what's in there, right? Well, so I can't be, held responsible for not realizing that this stuff is not in the storage. And in the circumstances in which something like that happens, it's like, well, I can't get my item back. Now it's just stuck in the auto sorting thing, and now it can't come back, and whatever. Da 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 da. Blah 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 blah. The way you solve that, and no, not really, but the function I wanted to have is basically the items in the item sorter when they get to here, and it's like, oh crap, I can't actually sort these items into it because there's two things that can happen. You either don't have storage for the item, because all the other storages of that item got filled, or you or there's actually like that item is straight not in the storage, so it can't actually sort it in. And the conclusion to both of those scenarios is basically you just need to get the item, whatever that may be, and make a storage chest and put it into your ding dong, right? Which that ding dong being your storage. But how do you do that, right? It's stuck here. You just threw a bunch of stuff into auto sort and it can't auto sort it. That's the simplicity of the situation. What do? What was my idea? My idea is that if you threw something into auto sort and you can't actually auto sort it because you don't have storage of that particular thing you don't have storage available for that particular thing, or you straight up don't have storage at all for that thing. It has to be sent back. There has to be some way for you to know that what you just threw into your auto sort, not only so then it doesn't clog up your auto sort, but it also allows you to understand the fact that you don't have that stuff in your auto sort. Like, you don't have that stuff in your storage. You straight up don't have it in your storage, right? So it's going to be very helpful for people to be able to throw stuff into your auto sort, and then basically, if the thing is not in your storage, it'll come back into the rejected sorts chest or whatever, and it comes back to you, and you can be like, okay, this redstone torch is not in my system. I literally have no space, or it's just not in my storage at all, right? And those are the two things that this situation entails, or this mechanic entails. So basically, the way you would take care of that in all situations is get the item and just make another storage chest, right? So in here, you don't have storage or whatever. You just basically throw your stuff in here and then just throw it back into the machine, and then you're good, right? So I feel like being able to throw something into auto sort and being able to have it sent back if it can't be stored is like super invaluable, which is why I wanted it on the other machine, but I just couldn't get it in at the time. But I still feel like that function is basically necessary. I haven't seen any other auto sorting machines with this kind of functionality, because what this allows you to do is basically have an understanding of what's in your storage. Like, that's pretty invaluable, I would say, right? I can throw something in and be like, hey, is this in my storage? Because if it is, it'll just get sorted, and you're like, okay, fine, that's fine. But if I throw something in and it comes back, then I'm like, okay, I now know that I can't store this thing, right? I can't store this thing. I now know that. So easy as that, grab the dang thing and throw it into a chest, and bada bing, bada boom, shoot it into your storage, and there, problem solved, right? If you didn't have this rejected sorts or like a thing that pulls back your items, you would have no idea what's in your storage, and your auto sorter could get clogged because it's just a straight line of hoppers. And I feel like that's definitely something that, for very good reason, everybody who does this kind of stuff tries to sort of just sweep under the rug, because it's actually a pretty big problem. It's like, we have auto sorting, but you have to memorize what's in your storage so you don't accidentally throw something that isn't in there into your auto sorting. It's like, well, dude, that's just not going to happen. Anyway, yeah, it's just unreasonable, and obviously, but it's a difficult thing to solve, right? And it's much easier to just have a big line of hoppers going into all your storage carts rather than actually solving that problem. So yeah, no doubt it gets swept under the rug and nobody really addresses that. But I'm addressing that because it's insanely important, and that function has to be in my dang machine, because if it's not, once again, it's going to make the thing so hard to use, and the whole point is to make this thing, give it all the functionality possible with the easiest use in the world. So I developed a little ding dong. I call everything ding dongs these days. I developed a little thingamajigger that works, and it'll just basically sort out what can be sorted and what can't be sorted, and what can't be sorted will get shipped out. What can be sorted gets sorted, done and done, right? And it all goes down the same line of hoppers naturally. Right, you're throwing it all into one chest, and it's just this little pink. It's all the pink here. I think this version was the one I liked, because it's a little bit more compact in that area there, as you can see. Oh my goodness, oh my god, my damn it, ding dong. But basically, yeah, you just throw a bunch of stuff in here, and if it can't sort it, which in this case, oh, I got to turn it on, my bad. And if it can't sort it, it just goes in here, right? The reason why it can't sort it is because this is the sorted chest, and it's just filled with sand. Like all of your cart chests, it's going to have a full inventory of whatever the heck you have in your cart chest, whatever. But so if it can't put it in there, then it just goes down to the little thing down here, right? I have a bunch of cobble in there. Just like throw some more cobble in. Cobble. Whoop. Cobble comes into here. If I would turn the dang thing on and just leave it. Okay. Evidently there is a little spot here where the items will stay, but also you have to understand that that spot isn't only for things that aren't getting sorted. So hypothetically, right, we're done with our cobble. We had 16, one of them still in here. If I sorted anything, and that includes some sand, right, that'll also remove the thing there. So it's fine. This little one spot here where it doesn't move for a brief moment, it doesn't matter at all. So it's okay. It's all good. Obviously, yeah, I put sand in here in the same line of hoppers, right? The sand basically just goes into the sorted chests. Dubba ding, whatever. And yeah, no sand here. So anyway, it's just a little thing to basically Yeah, it's a timer to basically just let an item through at a certain pace. Um, and basically just give this guy a chance to move the item into the chest or storage area, whatever, before the hopper down here actually takes it out. So this guy gets a brief moment to do his action, and if he can't do his action, which means that obviously it's not compatible, then it just drops the item out. Simple as that. It's actually very compact. I like it. I like it. Because it has to be a timer, and it also has to be a little item sort on the side, as you can see. Dunk, 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 dunk. It's not really an item sort because it doesn't have the anyway. Basically, yeah. And then this was going to be something else. I guess I'll explain that later. But anyway, that's all the explanation anybody needs about this whole rejected sorts type function. Super important. Always thrown under the rug because good reasoning. It's very difficult to basically address it, make it happen, but it's important. I've deemed it important. And yeah, the only other thing I would talk about is the fact that, as you can see on this on the next iteration of this design, is that I've basically lowered it from 18 to 12 carts. Man, my freaking head hurts. In all simplicity, the reason why I did this is is because I wanted to have the animation for this thing not be the worst. So being able to animate 2 carts with the simplicity of this thing is way easier than animating 3 carts, as you guys saw with all the errors in the animation when it came down with something like this. Also, I may change the way I animate it, even from this simple way, which is the reason why I like it, to something a little bit more difficult, just because of the fact that it still comes in rows when the carts themselves leave in horizontal rows. So it just doesn't make sense. To the extent that I'm only getting, well, I guess no, that's still, so never mind. And also I'm thinking of a new way of doing it, which is what that other thing was, and I'll talk about that in a sec. The new way I was going to do it is not do multiple cart search, because it's too much of a hassle. You have to get the item, you have to have it, you have to use these hopper sorters, you have to get the item back. There's so many ins and outs with inputs and outputs with the whole thing, as you guys saw in the last stream. It's sort of a disaster, which is what I was explaining this. So I was thinking I'm going to go back to you can order 1 cart, you can search one thing and order that cart, right? And I think that's fine. As I said with the castle analogy, right? You're not going to be bringing in like multiple inventories. Yes, hypothetically, you could have shulker boxes of one thing, but it's a very unique situation, and it does not represent the majority of situations you're going to have. So this needs to be a practical thing, and it needs to work in most, if not all, situations. It does work in all situations, but whether it works the best in all situations is basically impossible. But it needs to address the majority here, and that's going to be the situations in which you do not need truckloads of items of all of the same thing, right? So I'm going to go back to I'm going to go to a much easier thing to create, just in general, and also in survival, which is the main focus of that, and go to a one storage chest order again, instead of a multiple storage chest thing. I think it's the right thing to do here. I really do. I think it's going to be faster than this one, and it will be. It literally will be faster than this. It doesn't have to have any latency, I'm sure of it. And it also straight up does not have to wait an entire search to move on to the next item. The second the item leaves the hopper, it can move on to another item. So it's straight just going to be way faster than this, as far as searching your carts and getting it to just the display, right? So that's nice. And it's going to just be, way easier as far as building and actually creating the thing for me and in survival. I think the benefits are good. So I'm going to go to a simpler functionality type thing. Even though it's not even like necessarily simpler, because it's just a different way of doing sort of the same. It's just a different way of doing it. a different way of doing the storage. It's not even worse, but the fact that it's not worse, it's like just as good. It's just a different way of doing the same storage type stuff. It's just a different way of displaying it. And that fact that it's not worse and it's like way simpler and it has all these pros is just, yeah, might as well just do that. So that's what I'm doing. And that's what this is. Basically, you have your, this is the little item thing. So these hoppers here represent the carts. So the carts would fly by this hopper, right? And so don't worry about these two hoppers here. In fact, I guess we'll just put some pink wool. Don't worry about that. But the carts are basically just going to fly on this pink wool. They're going to fly by this hopper, to say the least. And they just represent an item getting taken out of here with the trash wada-da-da. And obviously, here's the item you're sorting. Here's some of the other items that are going to come in, you know, because you put in multiple tags, of course. And ding, dong, dong, ding, dong, ding, dong, as carts fly by, right? And yeah, it just sort of gets them through. The thing with this is it actually can go reasonably fast. I'm not sure how quick quite, but it does go, like you could have carts going by pretty dang quickly. Inevitably, if the torch burns out, that's a bad thing, but in basically 0 cases that'll ever happen. It's like 0.00000 something probability, because you'd have to have, what, 6 carts all at the same time, have all the hoppers get through. I think it may be straight up impossible. So the torch would never burn out. But, you know, I think I'm not sure actually how fast these can fly by. Like the carts going past them, you have to understand they're all going at what? The 2 tick type delay, like the fast one, like I wanted over there. And they're flying past this hopper reasonably quick. And the second this hopper loses an item, it's replaced. So it can immediately start another search. So, oh, my voice. Whether the search, like hypothetically, oh, the first cart that flies by wants this sapling, and the second cart that flies by wants this granite. Whether the carts come in and the first cart and when the cart comes by and takes the sapling, if the second cart is slow enough that the hopper can put it in here and get the granite search going before the granite cart hits it, is debatable, and I don't know. I would hope it's that simple, and it very well may be, or it's just going to have to go around the entire search all again in order to get that granite cart right after it, right? All of these things I'm thinking about and just said are very unlikely to occur. There's basically no reason I should be putting any sort of brain power to thinking about them, but evidently, here I am, freaking out about something that's never going to happen. I'm the freaking guy who's like running outside like, the meteor's going to hit the earth, we're all going to die. Oh, jeez. Okay. Blue guy. Who the hell is blue guy? Blue boy, blue man group. I don't think they've been in the limelight for a while. Basically, this whole thing is just the count. It's the counter. Let's reset it. So if I have a certain amount of carts up here, let's say hypothetically 12 carts I allow, I guess I would have more than this, wouldn't I? Well, regardless, I have a number of carts, let's say 8. I only want 8 carts to get sent through this thing. Well, as you can see, the second a cart passes by, right, one of the things is gone. So you can see that we got 1 cart, another cart, 2 carts, 2 more carts, 2 more carts. Oh, sorry, I may have messed that up. But yeah, it also actually reloads pretty quick as far as its response is also pretty quick. So 1, 2, 2. See? So that's a pretty quick response. 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 6, 1, 2, 7. So that was a little bit too quick what I did there, but it's pretty dang quick. Its response on the number of carts. Inevitably, this is just a little reset, right? All you have to do is apply 1 current, and then it'll hold and let it go back. Once again, this can all just be adjusted, so I could just make the timer a little bigger, depending on if I actually do want to have, more carts in there. But whatever. Anyway, just explaining that. See, this is normal cobblestone. For some reason, I have a bunch of infested cobblestone. I don't know why. And yeah, I think I actually explained that pretty accurately. Also over here, See, I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to build the new design that I just was talking about. You know, with all this stuff and the new way of doing it, much simpler, and basically it's, you know, it's just a different way of doing the same. Not the same thing. It's definitely a different thing you're doing, but it's not. It's a different way of just doing the storage and the display, and it's just not any worse than the other ones. So you might as well do it because it's easier. So yeah, I'm gonna get started on that, and obviously you can see right here I've started by combining this guy with our you know, the main part of the machine with the, as you can see, the pink, the hopper sorting, right? So with the sorting system in place, I don't think I can have a way to basically turn off the thing while it's not running, so there will be, sadly, a redstone current constantly going that doesn't it's not dynamic. You know, of course I want to make it dynamic, but in order to make this dynamic, I would have to get a comparator going into this hopper. It's just not going to happen. Well, once again, it's impossible. I have to have a comparator going into that. All 4 directions in which a comparator can be placed are completely taken up. And yes, I've tried putting comparator next to it on the right where this torch is. It's not going to happen. I can't make the timer, the little loop clock on here dynamic. I just can't. So by dynamic, I mean that it will turn off when basically there's nothing in the machine, and then it will turn on when there is something to sort, right? So then you don't have basically, you know, just redstone going on constantly. But evidently this, I have to do this. You know, just dirty code, dirty code. You never want to have things just looping constantly. You always want to have it work when it needs to work, and when it doesn't need to work, just shut it off. And inevitably, that's harder because you have to make it dynamic. But you know, I do like dynamic things, of course. I much prefer that. But yeah, this one's just gonna have to keep going. Bummer. But it's actually, you know, it's not that bad. But either way, I think that's about it. So yeah, naturally, I'm gonna start building this version right here, just because there's no space right there, pretty much. So anyway, and this was my first little thing of getting the sorter right next to and right inside of, because you have to understand, I have to make a right corner basically, so everything here and to here is totally chipped off, right? Because I need space for the machinery for this whole functionality, but I also, you know, this thing is absolutely soulless. It's so rough. It's relatively small and it's relatively compact, and you just don't have room to work with. You've got this chest, and you've got a block to the right of it, and you've got a block to the left of it over here, or for your storage. That's it. That's all you have to interact with it. So I took the block on the right, made my thing small enough that it can fit right under this, and yeah, it's compact. I'll give myself that, I guess. But yeah, just gonna move that there in order to get the main machine where it should be, and then just start attaching things to UI and getting some of the other pathways done. I think that's about it. Definitely think that that's about it. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of work, but I'm also being rough to work with as is. Yeah, that whole thing frustrates me. I'm sure there's ways to make it work the way I want it to, like exactly the way I want it to, but it's also just like, it's just not worth it, because my new idea is just, it's just going to be better than this, so I might as well just sort of leave this one in the dust. It's like, it semi-functions for the most part, but it still is also, it's a disappointment. But inevitably, it's the first version. I'm a perfectionist, sadly, and even though I know it, it doesn't really stop it a whole lot. Which was half of the reason why this took me so long. I'm like thinking through, like, how can I make this much better? It's like, dude, don't even worry about that. It's gonna be the first time you're ever doing this. Just make it happen. It's gonna be a piece of garbage. We all know this. Everybody knows this. Just do it already, so we can get the revisions going. But anyway, it still took me forever. I eventually had that reasoning and finally just decided to put it together, because I could have done it whenever I wanted to. It's just I was being a butt. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I thought I had something else in mind. Oh yeah, so a realization to me, which I don't know, I don't even remember when I realized it, but it was probably just like 5 minutes ago, is the fact of the matter that if we're not doing, sorry, everything's very warm in here. If I'm not searching multiple of the same cart, I should actually be able to do this sort of basically cart thing here, right? But or well, not exactly that, but this kind of thing, because it should basically it shouldn't really ever send two carts right after each other. It's possible, right? It's possible this could happen. It's just very unlikely, especially three carts after each other. Now you're really bringing up that unlikelihood. But in the case that it does, it doesn't even matter, because that means that it's like one cart out of order, and it's one cart. Nobody gives a freaking damn. So in that circumstance, it's fine. So I can be okay with that kind of loss. But with that in mind, that means that actually my whole revision with only having two rows may in of itself just, I mean, it's just not necessary, right? There's no reason to have only two rows. If I'm only doing a one cart search, I should be able to do all 18 like I originally planned, or I could do more, but that would be stupid. So this is where I'm sort of at an impasse. 18 is great. I love 18, right? But the main reason why I originally had 18 carts going to be in your display, it was 15, but then it went to 18 because I realized the top carts you could access. Anyway, the reason why I did so many carts, 18 carts, is because a lot of them were going to be the same, right? You're going to have a lot of cobble, or maybe you have a lot of dirt, or maybe you have a lot of paper, sugar cane. You're going to have a lot of carts of the same thing all coming here. It's going to be pretty easy to organize and recognize where everything is, because you're going to have like these big chunks, at the bottom of where your storage is, in the display that are, oh, all this stuff is sugar cane. And then, at the top right, it's like, oh, this chunk of carts is redstone, whatever, right? It's relatively easy to locate things in these, larger chunks, but, you just have a lot of storage on display. But if you're doing only one cart of the thing you're searching for, we have to consider an entirely different way of looking at this display and the storage that we're going to be putting on display. That being, we're not looking for these big, chunks of carts and these large, areas of carts that all have the same thing. We're looking at one individual cart, and every single individual cart has something different. So if I had, imagine this, and it's just a good way to go about making these decisions, is just imagine the dang thing. Put yourself in the situation in which this happens. And I will proceed to do that now. But yeah, I'm going to show you guys what I mean by that. So keep that in your mind. Let's see if I could just get this thing to hurry up. Is it good yet? A few more. There we go. All right, so imagine I decide to keep the 18 carts and I do individual searches, right? I'm going to come out here, with all my carts, and they all have something different in them. And I'm going to be like, okay, redstone cart, redstone cart, redstone cart. And I'm just going to be, even though it'll come in, so you'll probably know. So it's over here, all right? And then you have the sand over here, and then you have the dorite over here, and then you have, redstone over here. And it's just, it feels maybe a little bit tedious trying to get one thing from so many different carts. And I felt like having just having less carts in that situation would actually be relatively beneficial. Let me check. In the sense that you're like, okay, this is a little bit, easier to deal with. I know that my redstone is here, wood is here, iron is there, diamond is there, da-da-da-da-da, right? It's a little bit easier to work with something like this than to work with it, because remember, every single individual chest has something different, right? So I would like to know what you guys think, but I know not a whole lot of people watch these things, so I'll probably have to figure it out for myself. but it's just something to think about. What's easier to work with? It's not that it's particularly difficult to say, oh, my redstone is here, and my iron is here, my wood is here, and I've just got to briefly remember that whilst I'm still working with my stuff, right? Compared to basically saying, oh, my redstone's here, my iron is here, and my diamonds are here. I just got to briefly remember that. It's a little bit easier to comprehend these fewer chests all having their different things and just where they are versus just the thing which is which is bigger, and then saying having to cover in where these things are. But it's, you know, I don't think it really matters a whole lot at this point. You know, I don't know. I'm like Bill Burr right now. I don't know. Inevitably, the two rows of 6 looks pretty slick, because the thing's basically a 4x6 right now as far as the panel, which it looks pretty good. Like, look at this. This looks pretty smooth, to say the least, right? And then you come over here, and it's good, but it also looks a little bit fat. Now, admittedly, I guess I can make another version of this as a display type purpose thing, where inevitably this is going to be a chest, and then we have the anvil down here, like some of the revisions there, you know, naturally. I'm trying to imagine that right now. It's not bad, but also it does sort of. Also, I guess this thing may be putting me off the edge round, because you can see over here I get rid of the edge round. Obviously, this has to be there. You're gonna have a ceiling anyway, so just place the blocks there. It's fine. But you know, I got rid of the edge rounds, and it's flush with the wall. Always good. Your UI panel is flush with the wall. You have a machine that is integrated into your house instead of basically shoved inside of your house. It's actually a part of it. I like that. I like the UI for the potion machine. Yeah, I think it would be actually beneficial for me to make another version of this with the revisions of this over there, because it's sort of up to hearsay at this point whether I do 18 or 12 carts now. If I was to do it with this system, I would definitely do 12 carts, but I'm not doing it with this system anymore. I'm completely changing the dang thing, so it actually does give me a new ability to reconsider keeping these carts. That's a good question. What do you think is better, 18 or 12 cards? But it's also, you got to understand that there's a good value put on minimalism and simplicity, which I take into account inevitably. It's part of my design. I'm a design guy. I have to take everything into account, but simplicity and minimalism, make no mistake, very important things. And that definitely comes into play when you're talking about having 2 nicely tucked rows of 6 cards and making 12 cards, or 3 tucked rows of 6 cards making it 18, but it does, look rather large, a little bit fat. I would say that I do like this one's look better, but once again, this one isn't even like accurate to what this would look like anyway, so this is why I'm thinking I'll redo it. So I could do it right now and build it up. I don't know. I'll probably look at it on my own and decide on my own, because I don't know what to do. Okay, yeah, that is horrifyingly close to the exact present of where I am with all of this. Sometimes I just don't mention things that have happened quite recently. It's like, no, this is literally everything up until right now, where I've been making decisions and thinking things through about this. Okay. Alright, well, that's an update. Next video you see on this thing, I'll be finished with it, and you guys will be getting you guys will be having a good time checking out the finished version of this dang thing. Other than that, survival video coming out later tonight, so that'll be cool. I gotta finish that series. I know. It's all right. It's all right. It's not bad. But I do need. I ought to just finish it. You make a project, you start something, finish it off. So, anyway, I will catch you guys later.